Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Cool Tech back with another video. So today in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how you can create a Navbar component in React using TypeScript. This is um, this is just basically a simple Navbar that you put on the top of a website, and I just figured I would make a video on this because I've been making a few different nav bars recently for a few different SaaS products that I've been working on. And I don't know, I just thought it was kind of fun working on those and that I would just kind of, get started doing a video on that. So without further ado, the first thing that you're going to have open is VS Code. So once you have VS Code open, you can show your terminal. So you can just go up here to terminal, new terminal, and you want to make sure that within VS Code you're in a folder that you want this project to run in. And when you have that folder open up in VS Code, you can run npx create react app, and you're going to want to specify which directory that you want to create this navbar component project. So you can specify this current folder with just a period, and then you want to do template TypeScript, and you're going to run that, and it'll take a minute. Okay, so once that has finished running, you'll see that it has created a basic create React app for you. It has your tsconfig.json here for the TypeScript configuration. So once that's all up and running, you can just go ahead and type npm start. And so that's going to start an npm process for you. And it's going to start the actual React application. And here you can see the boilerplate React application. It's just this spinning React logo, a little bit of text, some background color. So the first thing that we're going to do is go into app.tsx, and we're going to just remove all of this boilerplate code. We won't need it. And we are also going to remove both of those imports as well. And let's just print out a hello world. Okay, perfect. So those are just the default React styles. We're not going to use them, so we can just ignore those or just remove them from our app.js file. Okay, so what we're going to do from here is we're going to create a new component inside of a folder called components. And so inside of this, we're going to create another folder called nav. And inside of nav, we're going to create a file called nav.tsx. And then I'm going to create a component, a functional component, using a VS Code plugin, which I will put a link in the description for. But using this plugin, all you have to do is just type RAFCE, hit enter, and it will automatically create a functional React component. Okay, now so since this is TypeScript, we are going to want to give this component a type. And so the type will be react.fc. And right now we want to add in something for this functional component, and we can just do an empty object because we're not going to be passing in any props as of right now. And we can save that. And now inside of our app function here, functional component, we can put our hello world statement inside of a React fragment here, and we can just simply, we can import nav from components-nav. Okay, so we can actually just use it as a default export or a default import, just like that. And so now we have connected our nav component with our app. All right, so that's step one. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do is begin our basic styling for this component. And we are going to want to actually use CSS module for this. So we can create a CSS module called nav.module.css. And that's going to allow us to basically use our styles almost like an object. So we're going to import styles from nav.module.css. Okay, so we've got this connected to our CSS module. So let's go ahead and begin our base styling for our navbar. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our Chrome DevTools, and we can inspect our nav component here. And so inside of Chrome DevTools, so that we can get a real-time visualization of the actual changes that we're making in CSS, it's easier to work within this, and it's easy to open this up. Just hit the F12 key, and so that will open this up for you to be able to select elements. Of course, you can always go right-click, inspect an element, and then navigate through this DOM tree as needed. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to give this a width of 100%, and we're going to give it a height of 50 pixels, and we'll give it a background of, let's do F7, 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 and let's do a border bottom 1px solid, and let's do 555. Okay, so this has given us a very basic styling for our navbar, and we can come back later and maybe make this a little more attractive, but for now this should suffice. And we will also want to give it a display of flex, and we will want to do align items center and a justify content, and we will do space between. And so the display flex with the align items center and justify content space between, that's just going to allow us to position the elements that we want to store inside of this nav. We want to store this center vertically, and horizontally we want our elements to basically be displayed in the left corner and the right corner of the nav component. And so that's what these this display and these CSS attributes are doing for us. So I'm going to paste these as well into our CSS module and refresh the page, and you can see our nav component is now styled, which is nice. But that's only the first step. So the next step that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to display our logo, because we're always using a navbar to display information about the brand, such as the logo, as well as links that you can click on to go across a website. And so yeah, we're going to use this for a logo now, and I'm going to create a class name equal to styles.logo, and I like to do have my my CSS class names in kebab case. So you would need to wrap it inside of these braces and then inside of a string, so that you can access kebab case keys from the style, the CSS module. And so I'm going to call this logo container. And so now here you can say logo container, and once again, we can open this up, but before I do that, I'm going to just put logo here. So now let's inspect this and let's do some just basic styling. And so the first thing that you'll notice is the logo is right against the edge of the page. So we're not going to just let that happen. We are going to give this a little bit of margin. And in fact, we can actually give the margin to the navbar itself. So we'll give it 80 pixels. Oh, let's do 80 pixels. Oh, no, that won't work. We'll need to do padding. So this will give it a little bit of padding here so that our content is not just directly against the page in the browser window. And so let me just add this to our navbar component here. So padding 80 pixels. Okay, perfect. So we want to style our logo container now, and there's really not a whole lot that we really need to do here, except we might want to give the actual span that's holding the logo text. We might want to just do something with that. I'll give it a font weight equal to 500, and I will give it a cursor pointer so that it has a pointer effect when you actually hover over the text, so it looks and feels like a logo. Now, typically you would want to use an image, perhaps an SVG for a logo, but just because I don't have one for this demonstration, I'm using a span. But just so you are aware, typically you would want to use like an image here. And so that will cover the logo portion of our navbar. Now let's go ahead and do our links. So in React, I like to iterate and map through data as much as possible where it makes sense. And so links are not necessarily an exception to that. When you think of what a link is within a navigation for a website, they're really reusable components in and of themselves. And so the way I like to think about it is the parts of the link that are not reusable are the actual text as well as the actual href, or the location of the link. So what I would do for creating a nav component is I would typically create a links.json file, for example, and give it, make a links key here. And inside of that, I will create an array of objects with a label and an href key. And maybe I'll do 3 links. So one will be a home, one will be about, and maybe one will be contact. Oops, contact. Okay, and so this will essentially allow us to import this data now. Import links. And instead of us just simply, having like an individual link for every single, or like actually writing out static JSX for each link, we would have to do a div with a class name equal to styles at links container. And then inside of that, we would need to have a div with a class name of styles link. And maybe we would have 3 of these, and then each of these we would have like an href, right? So instead of doing all of this, 3 times, or however many times we need to do it, given however many links we have, is we can actually just simply do something like this, where we do links, and we actually need to import links from. So we can do links.map, and we can do link, and let's give this a type link equals, and we can give this a label, which is a string, and href, which is a string. And so we will use this here. Okay, so now we will just simply iterate through these links that we populated within this links.json file. And so instead of having 3 of these, we'll just take 1 of these, and we will return this link. Oops. Okay, so we will want to give this a key equal to link.href would be safe, although you could use either, but the href is a more unique option. And so inside of this anchor, once again, we will give the href value of link.href, and inside of this, we will pass our link.label. And so this will allow us to iterate through our links, essentially. And I'm getting an error here. Okay, so we are getting this error now. I think what we're gonna have to do here would be, instead of importing links, let's do import all as data from links.json, and then let's do const links equals. So this is going to be a little funny, but I think what we want to do is stringify the data, and then json.parse from there. Okay, so that should allow us to have what we want. Okay, what's going on here? So we want to get the links from here. Okay, and so that will resolve the error that we were getting. And so right now, let's go ahead and check to see if our links are being rendered. So it looks like, yeah, so we are getting our links now. So let's go ahead and begin styling our links container. And so we actually, let's do links container, and let's do display flex. Let's give it a width of, let's do 300 pixels. Okay, and let's once again do justify content, and let's do space between. Maybe we'll do space evenly this time. Let me close this. Okay, so this is looking a little bit wide. So what we're going to do here is actually remove this padding. And so now, instead of us having the padding and margin on the actual Navbar component, we will just simply do margin left. Let's just do 80 pixels. And then on the links container, we will also do a margin right of 80 pixels as well. And so that will give us pretty much what we're looking for, the right margin on this and everything. And so there you have it. This is a pretty basic, let's do 40 pixels, let's do 20. This is a pretty basic Navbar component. There's a lot that you could do with this, but one thing that I want to do, just to clean up our React component here a little bit. So instead of having this code block, which is iterating through our links, instead of having this within our nav component, I'm actually going to bring this out and create a new links component. And so we're going to set that type as a React functional component. And kind of like what we're doing for our nav, we're just going to go ahead and basically display all of this. And we also want to take over the div that's wrapping these links as well. And so lastly, we are going to want to accept the links as a property for this, and we're going to give the links property a type of link array. Okay, and so now we can, instead of having that exist within our nav, we can just simply import, or not import, but we can just use the links component, and we'll give it the props links equals to links, which is what we are getting from our links.json file. Okay, so this is what we have. Now, if I were to click on these, you'll see pretty much nothing happens. We would need to go through actually setting up routing for this, which maybe we'll cover in another video. But for now, this is a pretty basic looking Navbar component. And so what you can do is, let's just go ahead and let's give these links a little bit of a styling. Nothing too fancy, but something that's a little better than just simply default links. And I think we can actually just do .link. So let's give this a border, or let's give this a text decoration, none. Hang on, let's see what's going on. Okay, let's read this. All right, so it doesn't look like we are registering here. Got you. Okay, so our CSS class is on the parent div. So we're gonna go ahead and give this to the link anchor. And let's also give this a cool color. You can pick something here. I don't know, let's just do honeydew. Okay, so that's very bright. Maybe we can pick something else. Let's do something like this. Cool. And maybe we can give these just a nice little hover effect, so that when you hover over it, it looks decent. So maybe we will do RGBA and just change the background color a little bit when you hover over these. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot more that you could do to customize and style this navigation bar, but I think that's the scope of this video, was just getting this navigation created. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up. If you have any more video suggestions or anything you would like to see me build from here, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about this video, and of course, be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching Cool Tech, and I'll see you in the next one.